With only 67 days remaining until the polls, the political atmosphere in Mazabuka district of Southern Province has been marred by police intervention in a campaign rally for independent parliamentary candidate Gary Nkombo. The incident took place at Ndeke Ground in Zambia compound, where Nkombo's supporters had gathered to witness the official launch of his campaign. However, their excitement quickly turned to disappointment as police officers disrupted the rally using tear gas to disperse the crowd.
Ndi kuyandezo kuli bagali kulilali ndi bachisi kuti ndunke nkagugwa higwe balisi banduma yana mbutu takala bobo
kitira sono yabagapokola kututira matiya gas kuyabutuchirira. We will not stop.
In a statement to the media at his residence, Gary Nkombo expressed his disappointment with the situation, calling it undemocratic.
Just at the police station, which is under 500 meters away from my house, they started blowing tear gas, which was unnecessary. And they blew tear gas right up to this place. And I have in my pocket a tear gas in the yard.
He revealed that the designated town wards for his fellow independent candidate, Preston Hajintu, were supposed to be used for his rally as per an agreement between the two candidates. This was further confirmed by a letter that was approved by the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
To our surprise, what happened today is that all roads leading to the outside wards were blocked by the police, starting from Goto, Naganega, Lubombo, Nakambala ward. Discouraged because we are exercising our democratic right to participate in building this society.
Nkombo, who had obtained a permit from the police to hold the rally, was shocked when he was ordered to stop by Mazabuka District Police Deputy Commanding Officer Stable Gisonga. Gisonga stated that allowing the rally to continue would disrupt peace and cause confusion in the district. Having recently resigned from the ruling United Party for National Development due to a disagreement, Nkombo is now running as an independent candidate. Nshikabe, Prime TV News in Mazabuka District, Southern Province.
It was a weekend to definitely remember, not necessarily for the good things, but so much is yet to be also discussed on today's edition, and of course we'll be able to touch on a number of these incidents that also did take place. Of course, the police responding, at least letting us know in terms of the police presence in Mazabuka, and of course even going down the route of enacting one of the sites in the Public Order Act, ensuring that they are at least halting any kind of gatherings, because they do pose a threat even to the public as well. And there's a lot of heavy presence, of course, in terms of police presence in Mazabuka. That and other stories as well, including the drama that also did ensue in Chawama. We saw, of course, very, very disturbing scenes. And we'll be able to touch that and much, much more. And later on, even have with us a guest coming through from SACOD. And of course, SACOD being one of the organizations that deals with disputes, will be able to get at least a third-party perspective. Sometimes when we get to listen to politicians, it's inevitable what they'll be able to say. And you can almost write the script in advance. So it's actually going to be good to hear from even SACOD representative to be able to shed more light on that as well. And we'll be able to get into also other conversations to do with the political arena. Like I've mentioned, issues to do with Gary Nkombo, issues to do with what happened in Chawama. It's been an eventful weekend, and it's going to be also an eventful week as well. We know that tomorrow we'll be putting to rest Nkosi. That is, of course, the deceased paramount chief, Pezeni, and very, very interesting also to get to find out even from the relevant authorities in terms of the plans for the barrio itself, Nicholas Spiri also present, also giving us details in terms of government engagements, of course, with the representatives from the East in terms of the preparations for the burial. We'll be able to shed more light in terms of what Nicholas Spiri had also mentioned. And of course, also on the footballing note, I know that JC later on will be able to come to let us know what happened between Zambia and Kenya going to the Sport Kicks. It's a lottery, and thankfully our prayers were answered, and the ladies are marching forward to the final. Very, very exciting. And of course, we'll be able to have Jeremiah to be able to deliberate on that and much, much more. My name is John Mark Lukonde, and I'm with Paul Shingongo. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, John Mark. Good morning to the viewers. Glad to be back on the People's Show.
True. And first and foremost, before we can even get started, just a reminder that we are live on our Facebook platform, Prime Television Zambia. Drop a comment. Don't forget to like. Do not forget to share the link. We genuinely enjoy getting to hear from you. And you don't have to always agree with what we have to say. Your perspective is also something that we accommodate. But do remember that courtesy costs nothing. You can be able to give your perspectives without at least infringing the law. Remember that the cyber laws or the Cyber Crimes Act is, of course, still in effect, and there's no sacred cow when it comes to the law. So you have to ensure that you are aware of the times and seasons that you are in. So even as you're sending in that message on Facebook, do remember that you could be able to be cited in the future as well. So you do well to at least engage in a cordial manner. We'll be able to read your messages on our Facebook platform, Prime Television Zambia, from the onset. And then later on, we shall also be able to open up the phone lines as well. And the number to call is always on the screen, 07764098840. I'll keep repeating the number because I know that we also have listeners via Lukulu Radio who we appreciate. Kudos and shout outs to Lukulu Radio management for according us an opportunity to be able to reach out to the community of Lukulu, or the land of plenty as it is called. And very quickly, even messages coming already on our Facebook platform. That's Mainza Herbert says, watching from within the capital. Mainza, it's good to know that you're following, and we'll be able to get to other messages as well. And of course, getting to socials, we are live on our Facebook platform, Prime Television Zambia. Follow us on YouTube. Do not forget to follow, of course, what we are able to also post via TikTok. Yes, we're keeping up to speed with the current trends. And also download the Prime TV app so that you can get information that is credible, information that you could be able to freely disseminate, knowing that it has been checked, it has been verified indeed. All right, let's go straight to the weather and the money markets before we dive into other conversations as well. And 15 degrees respectively. Southern Province 28 to 10 degrees. Capital, or rather the Central, has got 28, the highs of 28, the lows of 14. The Copper Belt, you'll be ranging from 29 degrees to 13 degrees. Eastern from 29 degrees to 18 degrees. And the other regions as well will be on the screen shortly. Right, in terms of the money markets, the United States dollars fetching at 17 kwacha, 44 ngwe, and of course selling at 17 kwacha, 74 ngwe. Great British pound, 23 kwacha, 39 ngwe, selling at 23 kwacha, 78 ngwe. Euro, 20 kwacha to 20 ngwe, 20 kwacha to 54 ngwe in terms of selling. And of course, the South African Rand, 1 kwacha, 6 ngwe, and 1 kwacha, 8 ngwe, respectively.
Why keep your business in the dark? Shine a spotlight on your brand with Prime TV2.
Has been assaulted by the ant.
Zambia's first ever 24-hour news channel and a trusted platform that helps business grow.
Botswana, of course, behind me is the Kazongola Bridge. And
we broadcast on Topstar, Channel 110, DTH platform, and reach and expand audience through our Facebook page, PTV2 Zambia.
Projects that have been dotted across the country.
Advertise with us today. Our marketing team on 0978 71 9477. Prime TV2, the home of breaking news. Start your day with Sunrise Breakfast Show. The flagship morning show on Prime TV2. Wake up to breakfast news as it happens.
What if you're not away?
In-depth discussions on the day's top stories, live reporter check-ins from across the country, expert analysis on government policies and their impact, the latest in local and international sports. Catch us on Topstar, Channel 110, and follow us on Facebook at PTV2 Zambia.
Sunrise Breakfast!
Sunrise Breakfast Show, only on Prime TV2, the home of breaking news.
In case you also did follow through on other interesting stories that you want to highlight or allow us to also just discuss, feel free. Because also other very interesting stories are that Tonse Pamosi Alliance promises no revenge after August 13th elections. We did hear from presidential candidate Brian Mundubile assuring Zambians that there will be no persecution, intimidation or revenge should his alliance form government after the August 13 general election. Mr. Mundubile said that Tonse Pamosi Alliance government will prioritize national peace, unity and reconciliation while respecting and protecting all citizens regardless of their political affiliation. He said democracy should never be treated as an enemy and that no citizen should live in fear because of their decision to contest an election or support a different political party. Mr. Mundubile added that he and his running mate, Makebi Zulu, are committed to providing leadership founded in love, national unity, and peaceful coexistence. And even before we dive into some of the stories, I just wanted to get Paul's perspective on this statement by Mr. Mundubile. It's almost as if those who are in power, sometimes based on this statement, you can almost interpret it to say those that are in power, they want to hold on to power because they feel the moment they are ousted out of office, they are going to go down the route of the courts. They are going to be in and out of the courts. The police will be halting them at every movement, like we saw with Makebi Zulu when he went to visit his residence as well. So is that how the Zambian politics is, or is just maybe just a mere statement?
Maybe read the statement again.
He had mentioned that he has assured the Zambians that there will be no persecution, intimidation or revenge should his alliance form government after August 13 general election. So I'm basically asking to say, is this statement insinuating that every single person, whether you're from the opposition or from the government's perspective, the notion is the moment you ascend into office, those in opposition or those who have been ousted will undergo persecution? It's inevitable.
I think we need to look at it with a bit of seriousness because first you understand that when you are no longer in office, one of the things that is there is that now, and that's the thing we need to change, now you begin to account for your time in office. So we need to promote accountability. When someone had occupied a position in public office, they leave that office, it's normal that we should audit you during your stay in that office. How that is interpreted by most opposition political parties is it is persecution. I do not want to believe it should be looked at it in that way.
So the auditing can only be done when they leave office. Why not within? It can
be done in both. There's no limitation. I think that the plea and the appeal has always been, let's do it both when someone is in office and when someone also leaves office. Because there are certain things that you can't do when someone is in office. No wonder even when you are doing investigations, they will suspend you to pave way for investigations so that you don't interfere. But when already in office, you have the capacity to interfere with the process of investigation. So it becomes very easy when you leave office. So when you leave office and we begin to audit your stay in office, because that is a public office, it should never be regarded as persecution. It should be regarded as a normal due diligence that we do for everyone that leaves office. Maybe the question is, why do people raise these red flags only when people leave office? Maybe that's why some now begin to think, you are targeting me, you are persecuting me. Why didn't you do it? It's an example I gave with Edgar Lungu. When Edgar Lungu was in office, what was the opposition saying then, the UPNG? That he was a corrupt man. Of course, he was enjoying immunity. They could not try him. When he left office, there's a law, provision in the law, that allows you, if you believe truly that Paul, as president, was corrupt, gather the evidence, take it to parliament. It says, look, we used to indicate that this man was corrupt when he was president. Now that he's not in office, this is a compilation of our findings. And because of that, we want his immunity to be lifted so that the law can try him and he proves his innocence. Did that happen? Until Edgar Lungu died. No one in government, from the president, gathered that evidence. So can you regard that as persecution or not? It is persecution in my view. Why didn't you take him to court?
So they made allegations that they could not
Yes.
be able to back up. Because even when asked the president, I remember vividly, one of the press briefings, he said, we will cross that bridge when we get there. But for some reason, we never got there.
We never got there. And it's unfair. It's extremely unfair because there's a provision in the law that helps you to now, prove your allegations. And you see, the law, the framers of the law had the right motive to say, look, he who alleges must prove. You are alleging that this man that enjoys immunity as former head of state was corrupt. Okay, show us. Go and prove your case before the National Assembly. Why? You need to defend why you are suggesting the removal of the immunity. So you can't just go there in parliament and begin to bluff. You need evidence. That is what this administration failed to do on ECO.
Do you think that they need to apologize to the nation for making those assumptions and not necessarily following through?
I think it's unfair to the legacy of ECL. In my view, very unfair that we branded him as a corrupt individual. And yet, we never compiled the corrupt activities and taken it to National Assembly for the lifting of his immunity.
But with the cases of the likes of Joe Malanje and the private jet, and being the presidential jet itself, doesn't that indirectly at least prove those allegations?
No, you can't insinuate. That's an insinuation. That's the beauty with the law. You need to prove, okay, so how is it linked? What makes you think I was involved?
But could Joe Malanje have had access without the president?
What if? Haven't you heard or seen families where a child gets a father's car without the father knowing? You're not aware?
That's at a family level, but
yes,
that's
I'm just giving an example.
For example, the OP should probably have that.
I'm just giving an example. Even in companies, they're not aware someone steals huge sums of money and the MD is not aware. You can't say no because for him to be able to have access to these accounts, yeah, it's not always like that. You need to prove. But even if that was the case, why didn't they take it to the National Assembly? Why? So, sometimes it is true that it is persecution. Like in the case of ACL. Especially John Mark, with the cases involving his wife and children. Before DEC, they questioned them. Where did you get this farm? My father bought it. Where did you get these houses? My father gave them to me. Where did you get these cars? My father gave them to me. And where is your father? Oh, he's alive. He's there. Why even just compile that and take it to the National Assembly? Look, we need to ask him to answer where he got all this money. Because there's this active case number Chakut, before the DEC. The child says it's him. There's this case number Chakut. The child says this. There's this case, the wife says this. So this man enjoys immunity. We would want to lift so that we hear how we managed to acquire all this to give to his children. And yet, they never did that. How unfair. I don't think it's fair, in my view. When we allege John Mark, no one, that is what landed Munia Zulu in prison. He alleged that Charles Milupi and Tumbeke Musokotwani got bribes through the Ndola Lusaka carriageway. And the court says, Bwana, you can't just wake up from your house and claim that John Mark is a thief. Prove, because you are ruining his reputation. If you fail, these are the consequences. That is what landed Munia.
So could we say that even those that allege that the former president, the 60th Republican president, was corrupt, if they were to be taken to the courts,
they will be jailed.
They will be jailed.
They will be jailed because he who alleges must prove. No one should wake up and just claim that this one is a thief. Oh, this one is a prostitute. This one is a Mbala. You know Mbala? Mambala. You can't just wake up and ruin people's names. You must prove. And if you fail to prove, the law must deal with you the way it's dealt with people like Munia Zulu. So even the people that used to claim that ECA was corrupt, why weren't they pushing that his immunity is lifted so that he's tried? He left office in 2021. He only died last year, 2025, John Mark. 2021, that is 4 years. 4 good years. No one made a proposal to lift the immunity of ECL. No one. And yet, they still continued. Look at, for example, what the president was saying last week at State House. He was indicating that they want to come back to do what? To continue the corruption? Bwana! The one that was running that government, you let him go scot-free. You never did anything to him. So why do you keep claiming that they were corrupt? Why? Because others, it's not corruption. If you go, for example, the case of Chitotela in prison, it's not corruption. Nison Chilangwa, it's not corruption.
Others, it's arson.
Yes, arson. So it's not everyone. If you can count, they're not even up to 5 that are in prison right now. They're not even close to 5 for corruption. Malanji and Bowman, give me one more, and Francis Odhiambo. Who else that served in cabinet is in jail because of corruption? Give me a name. That should tell you something that, look, sometimes we make these statements and they sound good to the people that are the corrupt, but have you proven that they are corrupt? Have you proven that they are corrupt? How many that used to serve in ECO's government are in jail today for the same corruption? How many?
Others will tell you that maybe it's because the wheels of justice, though they are turning, they might be slow.
No, okay, who is in court for corrupt cases? Give me 4 names, John Mark. People that served in ECO's cabinet.
But why is it that when the UPND are speaking, they are branding them as if it's so general and it's in black and white?
That is the unfortunate part that Makebi is talking about, where you begin to persecute, because even just branding people as corrupt is persecution, because you're tarnishing my image. That is persecution. You're tarnishing, that's character assassination. You're damaging my reputation. So some people would believe that we are corrupt by your statement. Has Makebi been taken, for example, to court for any corruption-related cases? No. So we need to be very careful how we allow politicians to, because the same thing will begin to happen to UPND. When they leave office, what will people be saying? There's a corrupt. No! Prove! It's unfair. Even when people in the opposition say that the UPND are more corrupt than the PF, we need to question them. Who is corrupt in the UPND?
Individuals.
Yes. Don't just generalize who is corrupt in the UPND.
But there are some instances that have also actually even happened that seem to be very questionable. For example, the Sujulite scandal, the God scandal. Up to now, those questions remain unanswered.
So those are you should be able to name. When you say Ababa were corrupt, like Bowman will say Ababa corrupt, you should be able to name them. The way Munia tried, attempted, and it landed him in jail. Name them. Don't generalize. Otherwise, we will not believe that UPND is corrupt if you don't name them. We will not believe. Because it's very easy to just wake up and begin to brandish people as corrupt. Very easy. Kuepesha abantu. And you see, the challenge is that people out there who believe you at first value. It's only enlightened people like you, John Mark, who will be able to question them, say, look, but where's the corruption? Not everyone is as enlightened as you are.
But what about things like documents like the Auditor General's report, sometimes the Afrobarometer report, that sometimes indicate these cases of corruption? Wouldn't that be enough for the relevant authorities to follow through?
Yeah, but who? Because they just mentioned irregularities in the Auditor General's report. So there was some irregular payments done here in this ministry, you know. The question is, what do we do afterwards?
And you know, that's a very good question, because remember the TIZ report, moving the finances moving from Control 99 and then going into the personal companies of some of the prominent individuals that are in government currently. That's in public domain. And yet the relevant authorities will still tell you, no, we're still doing investigations.
I have always stated here that it really doesn't add anything to our country, even if we don't have the Auditor General. Because there are no repercussions. There are no repercussions. FIC, do you know what the FIC does? Last time the Director General at Financial Intelligence Center was even lamenting that we are not even funded. In fact, says we use public transport. FIC. If they are not even funded to operate, do you think they can be funded to carry out investigations? But the concern really is, even institutions like the Auditor General's office and the reports that they generate for the public consumption, when you tell us there were irregular payments here, and what do you do afterwards? What do you do? Law enforcement agencies must be able to pick that up. SEC. Those, they are the tools that help them to function. So you don't have to start from scratch investigations. The Auditor General has done some work for you. The Parliamentary Accounts Committee does some good work for them. And yet, we don't see them. All we are told is, yes, we submit them to National Prosecution Authority. We submit to SEC, to DEC. We are never told.
And you know, that's a good point, because it's not that they have to literally start from scratch. No. Some of the incidents are just in public domain. Yeah. It's like, remember those when you were in school and then maybe you're about to have an exam, and then the teacher or the lecturer will come and tell you, okay, we're about to have an exam. These are the topics that you have to be able to study. So there are 22 topics, and then he narrows it down to 7. Yeah. And yet you are still getting an F. Yeah, because he has hinted to you that don't study everything. Just study from the 22, study 7. So if you fail, really, nishi nvakubandu. Nishi nvakubandu. Truly, if SEC is failing to do their work in Vakubandu, because there's no way. The work has been made easier. Follow through what happens even in Parliament, in those committees. The Parliamentary Accounts Committee. So last time, there was a very sad story of one of the councils who don't have receipts. Money came, they spent, no documentation. So if they got the money from Control 99, from our state coffers, get money. They spend, no receipts. So even if they spent on their girlfriends, we don't know. Even if they spent to buy things for their families, we don't know, because there are no receipts. And the chairperson was questioning them. And yet, that story has died. Why? Abolish those committees. I'm trying to think, is there even any company that operates without receipts? Even from the lowest of the low. You can't even get any single item, be it a gadget, without a receipt. The government, councils, I think we see them in Parliament. And yet, SEC, I don't know whether they don't watch those things. They need to maybe sponsor some television sets in their offices so they begin to follow. Because that is a blunder. It should be like a media house. They should have television sets all over the offices. It's a blunder, John Mark. How do you spend state resources
And yet you even go and they televise those sessions. You even go and tell the nation that I spent state resources, but we don't have receipts. And nothing happens to you. And nothing happens to you. Then you wonder where our money goes.
You know, I was very put off when I was watching one of the same meetings for the Public Accounts Committee, and the chairperson was even beginning to speak, and the first thing he said, please remember that as long as you are open, as long as you tell the truth, you cannot be cited here. You are protected by the law. The moment he said that, I was completely switched off. What's the point of having that discussion?
Exactly. And you know, that's a challenge with those committees, because yes, they're told that they are protected, so whatever they say, you know, will not be used against them in the courts of law. No, it should be used against them. I've attended parliamentary sessions before, several times, and that's an opening statement. You are protected now. Whatever you say here, you are covered. It will not be used against you. No!
Sounds like a church statement, eh? You are covered.
No! You are coming to explain how you use state resources, and yet whatever you say can't be used against you in court. We need to change those laws. We need to change them. We need to change them. Otherwise, we'll keep on abusing state resources without repercussions.
Why do you think the framers of the law had that provision so that they are protected? In Parliament, we can understand, because maybe in that instance, they are trying by all means to maybe deliberate and find solutions, so to say. But in the Public Accounts Committee, it's like this. You're having a conversation that has no conclusion.
I don't understand even in Parliament, John Mark, for me. Even in Parliament, whatever you say as a member of Parliament should be used against you in the court of law. Should be used against you in the court. Because what if you're lying? What if you're lying? There should be consequences. There should be consequences for what you say. What if you are assassinating my character? What if? And I'm glad, I think the conversation around amending laws in that regard are advancing to remove those privileges where whatever they say stays there.
No, but the opposition have been able to say that this is genuinely now gagging the opposition. The cyber laws were put in place to gag the public, and that one, hearing from the opposition themselves, they're saying that is now literally tying them completely from being able to speak.
No. It's placing a sense of responsibility on you. I can't say, John Mark, as a journalist, what I say on Daybreak should be used against me in the courts of law. No. Because I need to be taught to be responsible with what I say. Because people are watching. So I can't say no because I'm a journalist. When I come up at Daybreak or on Anama. No. No wonder sometimes when we make statements and we find it's not what we said, we come here to apologize. Why? We are being held also responsible for what we say.
We're accountable.
Accountable. So anything you say anywhere, you should be accountable. So even the members of Parliament, what they say in that house, the courts should be able to use whatever they say. Whatever. If they are lying, they should go and prove. Munia started that conversation from Parliament about Charles Milopi and Musokotwane. And he took a step further, went to the SCC officers with fouls, big fouls. It was a dramatic day. He was a hero that day. I've got evidence that they got bribes. SCC said, oh, thank you for this information. You made our work easy. Truly, let's investigate. The president got concerned. My ministers, please ensure that the matter goes to court. And the matter went to court. And yet he failed to justify his allegations. It landed him 9 months in prison. He's out quiet now. It's not the Munia that was there before prison. The Munia that came out is a quiet man. Now he's responsible with what he says. Now he's responsible with what he says. He knows that what I say can land me in jail.
Actually, the only time I heard him speak was when Binwa Mpundu was doing his tribal cousinship.
Yeah. Now he's aware that I should be careful with what I say. So, really, politicians must be reminded. Must be reminded. And I hope that one day we should be able to interrogate Auditor General's office and see how effective that institution is. When you report on these look at, for example, Auditor General John Mark last year, released. This year, they released, in March this year, Auditor General's report released, Auditor General's office released audit of the CDF for 2025. It's a bulky document. One of the things I saw in that report is how CDF is being abused. As a matter of fact, one of the things that TIZ was indicating that, look, it's not only us that reported on the abuse of CDF resources. Even Auditor General's office reported on that. Money is being abused, especially in Auditor General's office. John Mark indicated, especially in UPND strongholds. In the report, black and white, money is moving. Instead of going for the internal purpose, it's going to the UPND members and their companies. In the report, black and white. What has been done about it? It has died a natural death. It is, okay. Next story. No, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. We should be able to question, so who are these people that are abusing CDF? Anti-Corruption Commission, sometimes you don't really help us. That's why when we talk about fighting corruption, past, present, and future, they have a lot of information to fight corruption in the present. A lot. But they don't do so. They don't do so. I don't know whether they are scared of the people that are in office. Is it because they are afraid that I can be investigating a minister, a sitting MP?
Should they really be afraid? The president has consistently mentioned to say that if anyone is found to be abrogating the law, they are literally on their own. There are no sacred cows under the UPND. This is the song he has been singing from being sworn into office.
The president's statement is factual and must be commended. The actions by law enforcement agencies is questionable and must be questioned. Must be questioned. The president says something good that every leader must say. If I make a mistake here, the institution should not be able to shoot me. No, to you, Osamumange. No. But the agency's actions, law enforcement agency's actions, is the one that is questionable. Why don't they follow through? Why don't they follow through? And for as long as we are going back in circles like this, John Mark, the fight against corruption will become a dream. We'll just be dreaming about it, especially corruption in the present, because it is easy to fight corruption in the past. Why? Because they are ex-officials. They are former ministers, former MPs. That maybe shows that they were scared of them when they had the position. Now that they are former, they can go to them.
And the question should also be directed to the president as well. Remember when we heard that story of Joe Malanje, and it came to light that there were sums of money that were being, of course, misused as well, and of course taken out of the country. Should be in Turkey, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The president literally came out in public, and I think should have been in Mungushi, and literally said that he got actually consent. He made some phone calls to his counterparts, and that's how, at the end of the day, everything was finalized. He said he was the number one shushushu, to quote him accurately. But when it comes to the incidents under the UPND, like for example, the Sujulite scandal, the gold scandal, we haven't seen that level of impetus. So maybe we're just not being told that maybe he's making some phone calls.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be him doing the work anyway. Like I stated earlier that for me, I don't expect the president to be involved in this. Let the judiciary be independent. Yes, we question the doctrine of separation of powers, but don't make it obvious that it's not working. Don't make it obvious, because that's the president interfering in the work of the judiciary. He's not an investigation officer. That's not the job we gave him. He's the head of the executive. Leave the judiciary alone. They are trained to carry out investigations. So that revelation already for me is a sad revelation, telling you of interference by the executive in matters happening in the judiciary. That was a revelation that, oh, by the way, I interfere. That's not his job. It's not his role. We didn't employ him for that. Let the judiciary do their work. Don't interfere. Because even in the case of Munia, if you remember, this is the president that asked Tumbe Msokotwane and Charles Mulupi to take the matter to court. Why? Leave them. If they don't want, they will not take it. It shouldn't be him guiding. No, do this. No, I'm helping. No. The judiciary is competent enough. No wonder maybe they are stressed, like they told us last time. That they are stressed because maybe they receive instructions. Maybe they get interference from the executive. You're trying to do your work, then you say, oh, ija case mafika pati. Mfuna kota ndizo bwanji. Ntimeleko Mnangagwa. Okay. Let me call Nzami Uzan the convert. No. Shouldn't be like that. Leave them. They are competent. They are trained. It's not the job of the president to interfere in the cases happening in the courts of law. Unless they are telling us, judiciary, that they request for help from the president. They should be able to tell us, oh, Tima Pempa kwa toke takangi wa patani zenkon. Otherwise, that's not his job. Let's trust these institutions to carry out their work independently. Because it's a bad precedent. And I know that sometimes we gloss over these things as a country. The moment he revealed to the nation that he helped speed up the case of Joe Malanji, he played the role, the country should have rebuked the head of state. Should have reminded the head of state that that's not his job. How many other cases is he interfering in that maybe he's not talking about? Because there he mentioned to us on his own. Don't interfere in the cases happening in the judiciary, Mr. President. Like you did with the Joe Malanji case, you told us yourself. Don't interfere. I think we have a competent judiciary that can do the work on their own without interference from the executive. Otherwise, we now begin to talk about how independent the judiciary is if the head of state is publicly indicating that is also helping the judiciary. We begin to question how independent they are. We trust
tangible progress made by the private sector in response to government-led reforms, including investment outcomes, job creation, and lessons learned in the last 5 years. The PPDF invites stakeholders to partner with us by sponsoring the Mid-Year PSD. For more information, email ppdf-info@ppdf.gov.zm.
Why keep your business in the dark? Shine a spotlight on your brand with Prime TV2.
Has been assaulted by the ant.
Zambia's first ever 24-hour news channel and a trusted platform that helps business grow.
Botswana, of course, behind me is the Kazongola Bridge. And
we broadcast on Topstar, channel 110, DTH platform, and reach an expanding digital audience through our Facebook page, PTV2 Zambia.
Projects that have been dotted across the country.
Advertise with us today. Contact our marketing team on 0978 719477. Prime TV2, the home of breaking news.
With only 67 days remaining until the polls, the political atmosphere in Mazabuka district of Southern Province has been marred by police intervention in a campaign rally for independent parliamentary candidate Gary Nkombo. The incident took place at Ndeke Ground in Zambia compound, where Nkombo's supporters had gathered to witness the official launch of his campaign. However, their excitement quickly turned to disappointment as police officers disrupted the rally using tear gas to disperse the crowd.
Gary Nkombo tulabanda ali muti abo bavotela amulange igulira kwa bantu
ndikuyandesa kuli bagali kulira lingi bachisi kuti ndunke kakugwa higwe bapolisi banduma yana mbutu takala bobo
gitira sono yabagapokola kututira matiagas kuyabutuchirira. We will not stop.
In a statement to the media at his residence, Gary Nkombo expressed his disappointment with the situation, calling it undemocratic.
Just at the police station, which is under 500 meters away from my house, they started blowing tear gas, which was unnecessary. And they blew tear gas right up to this place. And I have in my pocket a tear gas canister here, which was thrown in this house. This is my home, my residence. And there are 4 or 5 other tear gas canisters that were thrown in the yard.
He revealed that the designated town wards for his fellow independent candidate, Preston Hajintu, were supposed to be used for his rally as per an agreement between the two candidates. This was further confirmed by a letter that was approved by the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
To our surprise, what happened today is that all roads leading to the outside wards were blocked by the police, starting from Mugoto, Naganega, Lubombo, Nakambala ward. Discouraged because we are exercising our democratic right to participate in building this society.
Nkombo, who had obtained a permit from the police to hold the rally, was shocked when he was ordered to stop by Mazabuka District Police Deputy Commanding Officer Stable Gisonga. Gisonga stated that allowing the rally to continue would disrupt peace and cause confusion in the district. Having recently resigned from the ruling United Party for National Development due to a disagreement, Nkombo is now running as an independent candidate. Nshikabe, Prime TV News in Mazabuka District, Southern Province.
All right, and we of course continue with conversations. We'll be able to touch the papers and then later on dive into conversations to do with what happened in terms of the suspected cadres attack, of course in Chawama, and we did even get to hear police also responding to that particular attack. We'll be able to get to that later on but we dive into conversations to do with the tabloids.
Yes, let's take this out of the way, John Mark. The clip that people are just from seeing the issue of Gary Nkombo. Of course, we saw that disruption taking place in Mazabuka as he was launching his campaigns. Police in Mazabuka did disrupt an independent parliamentary candidate in the name of Gary Nkombo at his rally, where it was scheduled to take place at Ndeke Ground in Zambia Compound. So Zambia Compound is almost everywhere. The incident led police officers to block him from officially launching his campaign as an independent candidate and dispersed his supporters using tear gas. Speaking when he addressed the media at his residence, Gary expressed his disappointment with the situation, describing it as undemocratic. He said the town wards were designated for his fellow aspiring independent candidate, Pleso Nachintu, with whom they had agreed through the signing of a letter that was also approved by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. But of course, the police decided to do otherwise, like you saw. Let's have that as a running peak, directors, the scenes happening that happened in Mazabuka concerning Gary and his plan to launch his campaign in the area. Very sad incidents, people running helter-skelter there in one of the well-known strongholds of the UPND. Stones, look at that, John Mark. This is quite unfortunate and something that is avoidable. But unfortunately, this is something that we are justifying as a people. This is something that some UPND members do not see can't spot a wrong with what's happening. If this is the country we envisioned, I wouldn't want to be part of such a country, John Mark. We don't envision, Martin Luther King had a dream. I have a dream. One day, America will be free. One day, people will be free to express their thoughts. If that is a country we dream of, like Gary said, the future doesn't look like what it is. I think that's what he meant. The future they promised is not what we are seeing at the moment. And you see, the police must really help the country. Here are two candidates. The Electoral Commission of Zambia has made timetables. Maybe let's provide a bit of context so people understand where the police are coming from. The police have made a timetable to avoid people clashing. If John Mark, you're standing in Palabana Ward in Chongwe, if you're standing in Chongwe, Monday, 8th June, John Mark will be in Palabana Ward. Then, Tuesday, the same Monday, Paul will be in Kasisi Ward, as an example. We're in the same constituency, John Mark. You're in Palabana, I'm in Kasisi. But we talk, and I say, look, that day, I want to come to Palabana. I know it's your day, but I want to come to Palabana. Since you are not doing anything on that day, is that fine? Oh, that's fine. Oh, please, because this is it has given us a schedule, let's write a letter and tell them that we've agreed. That's what he did with that independent candidate. Even a letter, I think you'll see that later on the screen. Let me, read it in part. And the subject is collaboration. Thank you. Collaboration on campaign program. Nkombo and Chintu. We, the undersigned, have agreed we can interchange campaign programs or work in the same wards at any given time, as there is no adversity. It says, with the two of us, we've agreed. On the day that you're supposed to be in that ward, if it's your day also, the two of us can be the same one because we are friends and our supporters, there's no adversity. But because this is it as a schedule, please let's sign and let's go and get permission from SZ so that they know. They don't think we are just abrogating this timetable. Signed. There is a dead stamp by the municipal council where the electoral officer is seated. With a stamp, say, oh, please go ahead. You've seen John Mark, the two signatures, Achinto and Gary. And there's a stamp there, keep going down, directors. Yes, there's a stamp there, Mazabuka Municipal Council Town Clerk. Signed. Oh, ECZ has no problem. So this is what we want, politicians to coexist. You're not enemies just because you're competing for public office. Go ahead. The police finds Gary in a ward where he's not supposed to be according to the timetable of the CZ. Gary says, oh, by the way, sorry, we have a letter. So, ECZ has permitted. The two of us can be in each other's wards at any point. And we have no problem. ECZ has no problem. No! Stop! Okay. What is your problem?
So in other words, even when you follow the procedure, you're going to be halted.
What is your problem, Zambia, please? What is your problem? They've told you that even ECZ has said, it's fine, Mwebantu. Go ahead. ECZ, the one that is managing the timetable, say, it's okay. I was going to have a problem if they agreed verbally without something written, because they would be making assumption. But they also did due diligence. I was also going to have a problem, John Mark, if the two of them agreed without informing ECZ. I was going to have a problem. But no, they did not just agree verbally. They wrote it down. Didn't just write it down. Went to the owners of the timetable, the authors of the timetable, says, please, permission. And like they say in the army, carry on. Zambia police dispersed the people with tear gas. And we don't see anything wrong with that. I am concerned.
Listening to Southern Province Police Commanding Officer Mr. Mono, he said that they actually invoked Section 9 of the Public Gatherings Act of 2026, and of course which of course allows them to stop any gathering if at all it has the potential to be able to bring public unrest. And went on to say that the police actually said they were in order to bar Gary for not following ECZ campaign schedule, according to Mr. Mono, as he was supposed to be in Nega Nega, not, of course, the other area as well. So is it that it's, though yes, they might have made that agreement between themselves, but the fact that he was in the wrong place, does that justify the police?
He was not in the wrong place by mistake. It was an agreement with the other candidate saying, throughout this period, in fact, that letter is not talking about that day only, throughout this period, the two of us candidates, we can be in each other's wards according to the timetable, and there's no problem. And this ECZ told them, go ahead. So what is the problem with the police? Why stop something ECZ has approved? I was going to have a problem if ECZ was not engaged. But ECZ was engaged and they have no problem. So why are you having a problem as a Zambia police? It doesn't make sense. To the point of dispersing people who were peaceful and with tear gas.
We also need to speak to the fact that, honestly, I think it's also sometimes we tend to also look at the negative sides, but even on the positive sides, I think it's also encouraging that we can have candidates to be able to actually agree to say we can be in the same region.
Exactly.
Just because you are green, you are blue, you are red, you are pink, that doesn't mean that we cannot operate within the